This is Dina Haynes, and I'm reading Neesa. This is the time in the video where you're going to want to hit pause and check out the links either above, definitely down below in the description, so that you can go back and watch videos, or really chapters number 1 through 4, because right now there's going to be some spoilers. Now, just so you know, there's some adult material in here. You know what to do. If you need to, put on some earbuds. If you don't like adult material, then I won't be offended if you click off. But I dropped some F-bombs in this story, so... So what happened in chapter 4? Oh yeah, this was Ruben's chapter, and we got to see him with his current girlfriend, and things weren't going so well. But we also got to see a flashback. He had a flashback where to his childhood that we now can tell was not very good. We can kind of understand now why he has this laissez-faire attitude about women and relationships, that might be even a little bit disrespectful. He cloaks his disrespect in being honest and upfront, and I'm honest and upfront with these women, but the truth is that he's hurting these women, and he's hurting himself. I mean, he's even kind of aware of it, so it makes you wonder, like, what kind of man is he going to be for Neesa? And that, I think that's what's going to be interesting to see, you know, how are he and Neesa going to get on the same page? Or how's he even going to measure up to the point where Neesa will actually want to be with him? So anyway, that was kind of depressing, but well, not really. But let's move on to chapter 5. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and as well as the little bell icon, and also, yeah, slam the door. Let's start chapter 5. Chapter 5, Neesa's perspective. A week later. The coffee grinder shrieked in the busy cafe as I stood in line, shaking my foot at the ankle. More like an obsession, my coffee habit had stuck years before my hypoglycemia diagnosis. I couldn't get the caffeine buzz anymore, but I still craved the beans. In 3 minutes, the staff meeting at work would begin, and there was no way I was going to make it in time. While my coworkers drank the stuff catered for the office, I held true to my coffee snobbery. Since I'd been forced to switch to decaf, I had to have the richness, the bitter, the sweet, the nutty and fruity notes. I waved at one of my favorite baristas, Taryn, like a starstruck fan. The magic he would soon pour into my personalized mug was worth my tardiness to keep the Monday blues at bay. My coworkers should thank him personally, sign their checks over to him, declare him king of the cafe for the cup of joe, make that joy he was about to bestow upon me. He spared a smile before locking the portafilter into the machine and pushing the button that released the hot water. At some point, I'd picked up the lingo. I closed my eyes and swooned at the buttery smell of freshly ground espresso beans. The cashier finally called me forward. I smiled impatient while she performed the obligatory greeting, and I held out my flashy gold ceramic thermos. Decaf low-fat milk latte, please. Oh, and add this pack of almonds to the bill. I scanned the barcode on my Pete's app, added $1 to the tip container, and shifted over to the pickup bar. This month, Taryn's hair was a vibrant mix of pink and orange on top, which popped against his tan skin. A hibiscus flower stuck out from behind his ear. The color matched his hair perfectly. Well, don't you look precious today, I said. He pointed at a table behind me. Susan brought it for me. Isn't she sweet? I shot a quick glance over my shoulder and saw she had a couple more of the flowers lying on the table next to her drink. Taryn said, "How you doing, beautiful? Please tell me you've found the guy of your dreams. Convince this lonely queen how to believe in love again." Sure, if you want me to lie, I said. Where have you been the past couple weeks? He placed my cup under the espresso dispenser. I went home to see the rents. I widened my eyes. And it went? I don't know. I might not do that again. Like, ever. Wow, that bad? I winced. Taryn said, Yeah, well, you know I'm gay, and they're old school Catholic conservatives. Never the two shall mix. Know what I mean? That's terrible, I said. I'm sorry to hear that. It's no sweat off my back, he said. He tapped the metal canister of steamed milk on the counter, the preamble to my favorite part of the latte making process. The support I get from friends blows their hate out of the water. He shrugged before pouring the frothy milk into the cup. They're my family now. A few flicks of his wrist and a beautiful heart emerged at the top. Here you go, baby doll. I leaned over and took the first sip off the foam, which held the essence of bitter espresso beans and creamy milk. My knees buckled. It was so good. I held his gaze for a moment. I'm going to stop looking for Mr. Right. You know why? Because I've already found him. With you in my life, making this right here, I raised my cup. What more do I need? He gasped. Oh, you say that to all the baristas. Never! The barista behind him leaned her head in. Nope, she said that to me last week. Now it was my turn to gasp. That's the last time I pay you a compliment. She asked, Aren't you late for a meeting? How do you know that? She said, It's Monday. You're always running late to a meeting. She excused herself to take an order from a customer at the register. I placed the cap on my mug. Okay, I'm leaving. Until next time. He waved goodbye and I winked back, and then turned around and almost had a heart attack. I'd thought it was possible, or maybe I'd sort of hoped, Ben would call the number I gave him, for business only, since I wasn't ready to admit to myself how much I needed an excuse to fall into bed with somebody. I savored this moment of him being unaware as I watched him pay and then wink at the barista, who scribbled his name on a paper cup, the same one who'd given me a hard time a few seconds ago. Seemed indiscriminate flirting was his M.O. He sauntered over to me, his hips rolling in an overtly sexual way that made me question whether I'd made the right decision to reject him a week ago. It took a lot of self-awareness for a man to walk like that. As he got closer, my self-awareness kicked in. And to my embarrassment, my mouth was open. I stretched it wide and forced a yawn as a cover. Wow, what are you doing here? Are you stalking me? His lip curled in a sexy smirk, untangling my mixed feelings so that my attraction to him stood front and center. He said, like I would admit it if I were. I said, Okay, that's creepy. He said, No, I come here all the time. The blender sounded in the background, snapping me from the brink of a trance, and I cocked my head. No way. I've never seen you here before. Hey, Taryn, is this guy one of your regulars? Taryn said, no. I would remember if he came in. I smiled at the innuendo. Ben blushed, shoving his hands in his pockets while he squirmed. The movement was endearing enough that his being here almost seemed innocent in the bright light of day. Well, no, not here, he said, bursting that thought bubble. But there are other Pete's locations in the city. I happen to be in the neighborhood. Oh, come on. Who do you think he was fooling? The barista he'd flirted with earlier stepped forward, carrying a sugar bomb with a tower of whipped cream on top. Ben, chocolate and caramel swirl Javiva. She held the drink out to him, but he kept his hands by his sides. A snicker leaked out before I could stop myself. I think that's you. He twisted his mouth in doubt. Yeah, but I didn't order that. I told the cashier to surprise me. His face turned bright red. Poor guy couldn't catch a break today. The barista said, Surprise, sweets for the sweet. Her smile brightened when he finally took the drink. She said, I hooked you up with a little extra whip. Her hand lingered on the cup as though she didn't want to let it go. He gave it a tug and returned her smile with an awkward one of his own. Thanks. Laughter bubbled up and I pitched forward in my effort to hold it back. Well, that is a surprise. Swirls of chocolate and caramel sauce coated the inside of the cup, and the whipped cream in the clear plastic dome got its own heavy dose too. Is there any espresso in there? He stuck a straw in the top and took his first sip. The face he made was priceless. I said, Too sweet, huh? He said, No, it's a bit strong. I laughed into the back of my hand. Wow. Taryn, I believe we have a defector from the cafe that shall not be named. Ben chuckled. Funny. He threw his hand up. Okay, you got me, but don't worry. I won't stay in enemy territory for long. I caught him watching me as I laughed at his expense, yet he seemed to enjoy it even more than I did. I found it strange because he hadn't earned the right to look at me with such fondness. I said, well, don't leave on my account. A light bulb went off. I looked down at my phone and cursed. I've got to go. It was weird bumping into you. Yeah, hey, I'll walk you out. This interaction felt all too familiar. He opened the door for me since I had a briefcase in one hand and my coffee in the other. I gave him a nervous laugh as I stepped out into the sunshine and headed in the direction of my office a block away. I quickened my pace. My priorities shifted to leaving Ben behind, as if I'd stepped in gum and couldn't get it off my shoe for the life of me. It suddenly occurred to me all the coincidences surrounding him being here. Catching me at my favorite cafe right before work, a block from my office, and I wasn't laughing anymore. So, what's the game plan here? You going to feed me another coincidence and tell me you have a house to sell? Or should I cut to the chase and call the police? He barked out a laugh, almost spitting out his coffee milkshake. Get in line. I said, what's that supposed to mean? Nothing, just more of my bad jokes. Yeah, and combined with his charming smile and good looks, the mixture was enough to get lost in my emotions. I said, you know stalking is a crime, right? He had the grace to act surprised. I'm not. Oh, okay, I'll admit I was about to walk into the Starbucks across the street when I saw you and made a detour. But that's it, I swear. I glared at him out of the corner of my eye. Didn't we already have this discussion about lying and how I'm not crazy about it? He kicked up his pace to match mine. All that time spent in the cafe, and now I was in a rush, which ironically was not about being late to a meeting. There was more to him bumping into me than he was willing to admit, and I had to remind myself that the guy in my fantasies was not the flesh and bone man beside me. This guy was a virtual stranger. Each step I planted thundered in time with my speeding heartbeat as fear took over. I was desperate to go back in time and slap the hand that had given him my business card. I said, you expect me to believe you happened to be in the neighborhood of my office? My tone had taken a turn for the downright hostile, a complete contrast from our conversation a few moments ago. He stammered, and I took a sip of my coffee, acting as if everything was normal. He could have been a stalker for real. Someone who had followed my TV and movie career and come up with his own warped fantasy about us being together. Now he was trying to make it a reality. This was LA after all. A ball of fear in my stomach churned in response to the acidic beans, putting a damper on my latte bliss. He was in for a fight if he kept messing with my coffee experience. He said, okay, you want honesty? You're right. I came here looking for you. Aha! See? You're a creep. Wait a minute. You gave me your card, remember? We approached the intersection on a red light, and I stabbed the crosswalk button with my middle finger. I knew another place I'd like to shove that finger. The impulse to be mean was so strong. I'm pretty sure you're not here to buy a house. No, I meant to... Well, now it seems silly to ask you like this. We were getting along so well in the cafe back there. The red hand switched to the white stick figure, and I took off across the street. Ben's long strides brought him to my side again, so I took another jab. This not playing out like you'd hoped, huh? I'll bet you're a regular Don Juan with the ladies. He snorted. You have no idea, he mumbled. When we arrived at my building, I spun on him, and he almost ran into me. Look, I gave you a chance. 2 chances. Face it, you can't help but make a bad impression. I'll take the blame for giving you my card because clearly that mixed up your signals. So consider this a sign. A closed sign. I'm no longer open for business. His brows shot up as he seemed to measure his next words. Okay, I'm not sure what that last part means. I pivoted to walk away. It means stop stalking me. From behind me, he said, oh, I see. Why didn't you tell me you're a lesbian? I wouldn't have held it against you, and it would have saved us both some time and embarrassment. I wheeled on him and seethed with anger. The only one who should be embarrassed is you, because I'm not a lesbian, but you're definitely an asshole. Fuck off. That is the end of chapter 5. be sure to hit that subscribe button and the like button and the little bell icon. And drop a message in the comments below. Let me know what you think of the story so far. Maybe try and guess which celebrity Ruben is based off of. So each heroine in my series gets to pick the hero of their dreams, and typically it's like a celebrity. And she picked one, and I'm trying to think if I can give you a hint. In real life, it's an actor, and in real life, I think he's Scottish. So he's got a brogue, but I mean, obviously he doesn't have a brogue in the story. He's American in the story, but that's who I fashioned like his look off of. And if take a while, take a guess, take a stab, and let me know in the comments, and I'll let you know who's right. See you next time.